Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hustling Sideways podcast. I'm Alan Halas. I'm a music writer, and I swear Jim Love is here this week as well. It's been a little busy in the Hustling Sideways world, so this week, instead of giving you a new episode with a guest, we are going back to last May when Jim and I both appeared on the Jason Smith podcast. So if you have not done so already, you should check out the Jason Smith show. And here's our episode. We hope you guys enjoy.
Welcome back to another episode of Dreamcatchers presents the Jason Smith Show, where we don't chase dreams. Nah. We catch them. And who am I here with today? I am here with two beasts. I'm here with two people who actually I was honored and I was lucky enough to be asked to join their podcast called Hustling Sideways. Make sure you tap in wherever you get your podcast. YouTube too, right?
Yep.
Wherever.
Everywhere.
So you can watch it, you can listen, check it out. And that podcast is literally all about people who have side dreams and still looking to catch those dreams while navigating through life. So who am I here with today? I am here with Jim Love, Alan Halas. I am here with the dynamic duo, Jim, Alan. How are you guys doing today?
I'm good, man. That was an amazing. I'm fired up now. I'm gonna run through a wall after that intro.
I gotta get y'all right, man.
Ready to
That's
roll.
great.
Yeah, no, doing really good. Excited to be here. I got a tour of this place, and it's awesome. And you got an awesome set, and I'm just excited for a great conversation.
Let's get it. Let's get it. So, listen. First off, I got to let y'all know how I know these people. Jim Love was introduced to me by a lovely lady named Rhea, who we just actually got done talking to, because I want to be a professional speaker. And Jim is a professional speaker. So he has given me all the tools, given me all the advice. He has been a true mentor to me. He has put me in places where I'm speaking in a college, in front of 300 kids. I could never, I don't even know how to start the process of that. And Jim Love was, man, I was lucky enough for Jim Love to look out for me. And then he introduced me to Alan, the brains behind their podcast, as you like to put it. When we recorded the podcast, I was in his crib. He had his cameras up. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, this dude is a beast. So that's how I know these two gentlemen. But the first question I like to ask every single guest, and one of y'all can answer. Whoever starts.
We'll rock, paper, scissors for it.
Yeah.
What is the dream?
Jim, that's on you, man.
Alan, just gave me a look like you're up. The dream is to live a life that you feel like is hitting your passion and feeding the world's deepest hunger. And bringing those two things together and feeling like you've accomplished what you're supposed to accomplish. That's what I've always found to be. So I try and chase the thing I'm really good at and the thing that I feel like the world really needs to bring those two things together. It's not accomplished yet, but it's in motion.
That's what it's all about. Mm-hmm. Just catching it.
Yeah, the dream for me, so I'm a music writer. Since 2014, I've run my own music website called Breaking and Entering. I work for On Milwaukee as my full-time job. So the dream for me is really just to continue to do my own thing and do something that is uniquely me and authentically me, which is Jim's full talk is about, to do that to the world and, still be able to make a living and kind of have my impact on things, but still never really lose my personality from it. So launching my own website was part of that, and really kind of growing it and developing it and figuring out what it kind of looks like and what I really want to do. Like, we highlight Milwaukee music. So being able to do that in a way that's really authentic to not only Milwaukee, but what I liked about it. Being able to do that is kind of the dream, and I get to kind of live that, so I'm excited for it.
So I want to talk a little bit about your respective careers. So, okay, professional speaking. I want to know what made you get into professional speaking. I want to know what made you get into music writing. Mm-hmm. What's the answers?
Yes. So I my journey in professional speaking started when I was about 16. I was on a leadership seminar, like a 3-day long leadership seminar for high school students, very similar to what you were just on with me. And there was a speaker that came out, and he was awesome. His name is Arik Jackson, my mentor, and not at that time, but of course I had just met him. And he did his thing, and he went on stage, and he turned up. Like, he went nuts. And I was like, I didn't know you could do that. I always thought speakers were like, leadership is about doing good, and I didn't know. That's all I ever saw. So when I was like, oh, that's the way I've always wanted to do it. And I knew I wanted to, like, speak. I didn't know how to go about it. I was like, I think I have a message, maybe. And then time went on. I kept going back to that seminar. It's in Illinois. And would write down words and thoughts I had about leadership, about what I felt about it, what authentic leadership means, and didn't really have like an avenue to do it. And then I went through a tough year in 2014 with a few personal things, and I took a lot away from that. It was like I had a tough relationship. I had a really negative boss, and really just like took all these things and started writing down the lessons I learned from them. And after that, I shared with one of my very close friends, Kristen, at that seminar, and I was like, hey, I think I could maybe do this speaking thing. Like, I've always wanted to do it. And she's the type that if she hears you say something like that, she's going to speak it into existence somehow. That's why she's a great friend. So she called Arik, who I mentioned was the guy I met when I was 16, and this was, almost 10 years later. And he was like, hey, I heard you want to be a speaker. So he's like, let's do this. So for like 8 months, he walked me through, maybe not 8 months, it was a couple months. He walked me through what to do, the structure of it. I would record myself and send it to him, and he would like red pen it, all over the place. He's like, go deeper here. I have a problem with going deeper. It's just not really my thing. And he really challenged me to do that. And then Arik thankfully double booked himself for an event. And he was like, I can't make it, but I know someone who can. And he pointed at me. It was actually Will's.
Wow, that's crazy.
So about 9 years ago. And so I remember being on stage and opening up at this seminar. I don't even remember what I said, honestly. I like blacked out. Like I was so, I was just like so shocked. But I remember how I felt. And I felt like I was connecting with students. And it was irreplaceable and frankly irreplicable for any other part of my life. It was like, this is it. So when I left, I'm like, I need to do that way more often. And I really thought that I wrote that talk for that seminar, and it was probably going to be it. And I was like, let's do a keynote, see what happens. And then I'm about to give my 100th keynote next month.
Hey, there we go.
So it's like, it was a long
I didn't know that. There we go.
Right,
That's legendary.
But I knew I wanted to do it. I battled. I'm a person who stutters. I've had that my whole life, and it's something I've just kind of learned how to not only deal with, but make part of my, make like a superpower out of it. And so it's just been a blast. Every event I do is different. Every educator I meet is different. Every student I connect with has something that they usually are sharing with me, or when I speak, I'm really vulnerable, and so I think students come up to me and they catch on to that, and they feel called to share something that they maybe have never shared with anyone before, and that's a really cool part of the process. So all that said, it's been almost 10 years, and now it's kind of funny. It's not something I share that often because I kind of forget I do it. It's so ingrained in what I do, where it's like it'd be like if you were to tell someone you have 2 ears, like you don't share that,
Right.
unless you do, which by all means. But like when people bring it up, I'm like, oh yeah, I do that, and it's kind of fun, like so this is my side hustle. I work at Manpower Group. I'm a global solutions director, so I work with clients all the time, and I love that job. And but it's fun when they kind of see like, oh wait, you're doing more than just like talking to us. I'm like, yeah, and it's a cool icebreaker. And then I love speaking, so when I present, it just kind of comes out. So it's definitely navigated like success for both parts of my life. I'm definitely not. I mean, there's folks who do this, at a global level. One day I'll do that. My goal for this year was to get, I should say the last 2 or 3 years, was to get on a plane and go do this somewhere, because I've really only done Illinois and Wisconsin, and I'm doing that October 1st. Which
Hey, there we go.
I'm flying to Minnesota, and I'm gonna do it. So it'll be really fun. But it's just like the next thing, and it's a constant improvement. That's why I love it. I learn something new every time I get on stage, every time, and I can always take it away. I changed up my keynote last year. That's been the same for 9 years. Like one part of it, because I needed to. I was like, this is something, and I did it, and it worked. So it's like you just figure it out. And now I'm like, I've experienced everything. I've experienced a really tough crowd and a really amazing crowd, and then anything in between. And then you kind of pick up right away of what you're gonna go after. So that's how I got into it, and it's been a ball. And to your point, I love talking to people who want to speak. It's fun for me, and I like sharing what I've learned. And then you realize you get taught a lot from those people. Like you can take away a lot. So. In a nutshell, that's how I got my start, and what's been carrying me is really to inspire the next generation of student leaders.
And something that you said that really stuck with me is when you said you had the stuttering problem and you viewed it as a superpower.
Right.
I feel like if most people, if they viewed their deficiencies, if they viewed what made them different as a superpower, then they embraced it and tapped into it.
Yeah.
Because what makes you different is what makes you you.
Right.
What makes you different is what makes you unique, what makes you stand out from everybody else. So tap into that difference, and you never know where it's going to take you.
And it's hard.
It's very hard. Oh, my
like,
God.
That took me years to like get to a point where I could laugh about it and then accept it and then make it my superpower. But I tried really, really hard, and it worked.
And
now
it worked.
I'm like, okay, this is what I do.
And now you are a professional speaker.
Yeah, commit to it.
That's like
Commit to it. Speak it into existence and commit to it. And
Literally spoke it into
right.
it.
No, literally.
And like it's okay to laugh at yourself a little bit and be fun. You know, like we're all humans. Like we're gonna make mistakes. We all have things that we see as being, weaknesses or whatever. Just enjoy the ride and have fun with it. And inevitably you're gonna relate to someone through that process.
I love it. Relatability, representation is everything. Alan, so what music writing? What?
Yeah.
So
it's kind of roundabout. If we want to go really way back, so I got my start actually producing music, making beats for hip hop artists in Milwaukee. Started when I was making beats for my cousin. And then my cousin was not rapping anymore, and at that point, this is like the MySpace era. So I
My cousin's name is 50 Cent.
yeah, right, yeah, no.
wait, hold on now.
Yeah. So I was making beats for him. He wasn't rapping anymore. Started getting into like Milwaukee rappers and getting in with them and like literally networking through MySpace. Wasn't even old enough to go to shows at that point. This is like into college. So I went to Marquette thinking I was going to go to school for music production. That's actually where I met Jim, was at Marquette. Turns out they don't really have a big, robust music production suite, but I was learning about all this different stuff, video production, which I was already cool with, like I grew up skateboarding, so I was making videos with my friends and stuff like that. So stuff that still interested me for sure. But music was kind of still like always on the back burner. Like this is something I was going to do. Eventually got into student radio with a buddy of mine that I went to high school with, and we were going to start a radio show, and we didn't think we were good enough for it, so we actually started as a podcast. And it was 2009, so if we would have just held on, you know what I mean, it would have been crazy. But it was called Breaking and Entering because we said that we were going to tape it out of one of our friends' dorm rooms, and she was like, well, you're going to have to call it Breaking and Entering because it's the only way that we'll let you in. Okay. So we didn't ever actually tape out of there, but the name stuck. We were on student radio for a couple of years. Long story short, my co-host was a psychology major. I was in like communications major. Way different sides of things. One was way busier than the other one is. So he ended up splitting off. So I had the website still from our podcast, and so I had Breaking and Entering. This is still again like blog era of hip hop, where you were learning stuff from Two Dope Boys and Hip Hop DX and whatever else, Fake Shore Drive in Chicago. So what I was doing was like, well, let me do, showcase the Milwaukee music scene. So started putting up blog posts about Milwaukee artists of all genres because I listen to everything. That was 2014, once I graduated in 2014, was like, okay, well, I'm going to give this thing a shot, and I'm going to go for this day after day after day and start posting content because I was only posting like once or twice a week, nothing major, trying to get people on. But then finally it was kind of like, okay, every day we're posting. And then it turned into every day while I was working my first job, finding time to go post or go interview people while I was literally would walk out of my job at a bank, go sit in my car for 10 minutes, interview a rock star, and then come back into the bank like nothing happened, and then go write that up later that night.
Yeah.
So kept pushing, kept doing that thing, as my side hustle. Fast forward to 2020, and I was fed up with working from home at a bank that I was the youngest at, and just nobody knew what anything was. I was like, well, if I'm going to go for it, I might as well go for it now. So got a job at Shepherd Express, which is a monthly magazine in Milwaukee. Stayed there for about 3 years now. I've been On Milwaukee ever since last November, so about a year. So now I professionally write about music, which is really cool to say. I get to go to a lot of concerts. With my own thing, like since 2014, I've covered festivals. So very thankfully, like in 2014, first year of doing this every day. Summerfest gave me a press credential, so I was able to cover Summerfest, and I felt like I'd made it. Then parlayed that eventually into like covering Lollapalooza. Now I just did my 7th one of those. I've done Riot Fest in Chicago. I've done the Soundset Festival that doesn't exist anymore in Minneapolis, with like Atmosphere and all those dudes. Been to South by Southwest, been out to California for stuff. Like, have figured out how to make this all just work, which is not easy when you're doing it on obviously a budget, obviously on no time. But I've been doing it for a decade, and continue to showcase Milwaukee music and all sorts of little adventures along the way.
So the fact that you went from working at a bank, finding a little spare time to interview a rock star, all the way fast forward years later, now you're covering Lollapalooza.
Yep.
What? This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about catching dreams. Because the thing that stuck out to me, and I heard that you ad-lib when I said hustle. It's the hustle.
Yep.
And so now everything's starting to make sense to me when the podcast come in, Hustle Sideways. Because I'm listening to two hustlers.
And that comes from hip hop. The name comes from we're not hustling backwards, we're hustling sideways.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, man.
That's where the name comes from.
Come on, man. So talk to me about the podcast. How did the podcast come about with YouTube?
Yeah, so it was very random, as they go. But I do a thing every year in lieu of like a New Year's resolution. I do one word that I commit to. So New Year's resolutions, I find you say like, I'm going to go to the gym, 4 days a week, and then it just dies down, right? When you do like a list of 5, and I used to do that, and I got frustrated. And so there's an idea. John Gordon, who's a great author and speaker, and several others who are pretty active on social media, do this one word, and I love it. I love the aspect of that. So I picked. It was New Year's morning, the day, I think it was on a Sunday in 2021. So we were coming off of 2020 into like in a new year. I think it was a refresh. I want to say it was something like that, something along those lines. And so I sent out a Snapchat, and I was like, this is how I feel. I'm excited. I was like pretty pumped up. And Alan responded to that. He's like, that's great. He's like, we should like meet up soon. It's been a while. We've known each other for whatever it was, 10 years at that point, and. It's like, sure. So we grabbed happy hour, and I remember we were at on North Avenue.
Izzy Hops.
Yeah. And we were like, we both have like side hustles, and Alan's like, I bet a lot of our friends do too. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. And we kind of like, why don't we like start up a show where we just talk about that? And truly, we were like, we'll get 5 episodes.
Well, that was my original thought. Is I was going to do 5 of these because I had all the equipment that you've seen for podcasting. And I was like, well, let's do something, because I would love to show the business side of what I do, because a lot of people think that like it's going to concerts and it's hanging out and partying and doing all this
writing
stuff.
About it, I'm like, that seems like a fun job.
Exactly. But there's work that goes into maintaining that, like we said, and keeping that busy on the side. So I was like, what if we did like a short little series of 5 episodes or something like that on just people that have side hustles and how they manage it and whatever.
Yeah. And
fast forward.
And honestly, when we first did this, we like had a couple beers, and we were just kind of like goofing around. But then we found that like the way that we are is pretty informal, and people feel comfortable to like share. So we were like, what's the realities of what you do? Like, what's the crappy stuff you deal with when you're trying to go after a side hustle? So like, we got some of our friends, and then we got to 10 episodes, and then pretty quickly we got to 20, and then we're like, like people have these stories to tell. And then we found a website. It's like Tinder for podcasts. It's called Podmatch, and we match with 1,000 people on there. So we're getting people from like Germany and Australia that just have these podcasts have side hustles, and it's really kind of grown. And then I think the biggest thing that we've done so far was there's an entrepreneurship hub at Marquette where we went to college called the 707 Hub. The 707 Hub is dedicated to students and alumni with their like new ideas and being entrepreneurs in those ideas. They get funding, they get different ways, and it's really unique and cool. And I'm like, that would be really cool to like partner with them. So we literally emailed them. I knew the woman who was running it, and she was like, "That I agree. It's a great idea." So now we do one live show a month in this semester at 707 Hub, and we have some level of guests. Actually, hopefully, we'll get Jen Latta here.
I was going to say, I think this is our 3rd semester at Marquette.
Yeah, and it's been a gift to connect with students. But really, what we found. All these folks have a story to tell, and people relate to the imperfect, right? They relate to like what went wrong in it, and of course we have successes, but it's like we do it in a fun way where it's like, okay, like what was the thought when you did this? Like what was like the biggest mistake that you feel like you did or a regret? But what was a time you felt like you made it? And we do like 40-ish minutes, 45 minutes, and it's really unique to dive in. And Alan and I really like meeting people. with passion.
Yeah.
I should probably add in that. People that just enjoy doing something,
Yes.
particularly when it doesn't relate to their like day job. So we've had like a nurse who does arts and crafts. We've had, like a teacher who runs a wrestling, like so many people that we've interviewed that are different, and that's fascinating to me. And then you start seeing how they have connections all over the place. Like people are wired pretty similarly when they want to go after something. So the genesis of that, that started, and then we're going to hit 100 pretty soon. I think,
we're going to hit 100. I think the important thing too is like, I wanted to do something that was business focused, like I said, show the back behind the scenes too. But I also didn't want to do it in like LinkedIn corporate speak. You know what I mean? Like we needed to have, a couple drinks and hang out and just talk and
that's how we are as people. So it's like we just kind of do what we like. It's almost like sitting around at a bar and like chatting. That's kind of, but it's talking about sometimes serious time. I mean, we've had like Riggs from
iHeartRadio,
137 came and talked about mental health. It was a very real episode. Like it was super. We get deep if we need to, and then we get really fun if we need to, and we kind of flow with the conversation. And we intentionally don't share a ton. Like our guests will ask us, like the ones that really want to be scripted, will be like, here's some themes that we'll talk about, but we want to organically react to what you're saying, and we want you to organically react to what we're saying. So we'll give them the premise of the show and certainly what we're going to do. But it's fun to like kind of get like, you think now the folks that really need it, sure, I'll provide it. But like the ones that are like, all right, like let's see what happens. So it's been cool. It's been a fun ride. I learned how to do a podcast. Didn't know how to do that before, and here we are. But and being totally real, Alan is so gifted at the tech part of this and editing everything, and so like I show up and I speak and we have a good time, and then Alan takes care of a lot of stuff in the back. So it's a very good thing that we have, and it's been fun, and we don't intend on ending it anytime soon.
Yeah.
First off, that niche is like brilliant. Like the fact, and it's inspiring because it's showing people, it's showing the masses that it's showing your viewers, your listeners that it doesn't matter what you got to do in life. If you really have a dream, you can go chase that. Exactly. You can go catch that. Like it doesn't matter. Like everybody goes through stuff. Everybody's path is hard. Everybody's path is difficult. And I think a problem is a lot of people compare their paths to other people's paths. And if people realize your journey is your journey for a reason, if you stay focused on your journey, you're going to get to where you need to be, not where Bob and not where Billy need to be. That doesn't matter. So what's next? Like, is there, and within music writing, within professional speaking, within this podcast, what's next? What's the future plans?
Yeah, do you want to?
Yeah. So, I mean, keeping things going, like, obviously this last year has been pretty crazy for me because it's been more, transitioning into a new job at On Milwaukee, different role. Still writing about music, much larger audience there than what I have organically, but I'm still keeping my thing alive basically because maybe the audience is a little different. Like I'm able to, when it's my site, there's no rules on it, which is the nice thing about it. Like I can show you somebody, yes, that they're playing Summerfest or they're playing a big festival or whatever. I can also show you some kid that made something really super dope that's on YouTube. You know what I mean? Or like the videographers that are crushing it on YouTube for Milwaukee hip hop right now. And like I can share those videos there and like maybe wouldn't fit the On Milwaukee audience, and that's fine. You know what I mean? Or like I can show you, a punk band from River West that might be a little rough around the edges, maybe not the most polished kind of thing in the world, but they're making their own, they're making their music. They're doing their thing. I can put that there. I can show people that. So it's really just to kind of keep pushing and show different facets of the Milwaukee music scene and keep that alive and kicking. I do book shows. We book a beat battle every year that is like the 8 weeks leading up to Summerfest. We do that in the 3rd Ward. It's called Big Beat MKE. So we'll be doing that again in 2025 and trying to get some larger sponsors involved with that and maybe some more national sponsors with that. We gave away Native Instruments at all? Anybody?
Wow, okay.
Yeah, we gave away 3 prize packages from them the last couple of years. So like the winner got like $1,800 worth of software.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, so all the mastering, mixing stuff, all that too. So yeah, keeping that going as well. And then, just trying to see where we take things next. I would love to do more video stuff if I had time. I would love to do, more podcast stuff if I had time. And then for us, Hustling Sideways is just growing too. Yeah.
Like for Hustling Sideways, it's as long as it stays fun for us, we're going to keep going as long as we can. And I think that's the biggest thing is like, at some point, I think the Marquette thing is going to keep going, and I think we're always going to have matches on Pod Match, and as long as people keep on hearing stories, we'll keep doing it. And I think like we're thinking about maybe partnering with more colleges. That's one thing
be great.
we're starting to talk about last
Colleges,
year.
hit us up.
Entrepreneurship courses, different ways that we can actually share some of these stories, do live shows anywhere. We can go, to anyone's classroom, whatever it might be. But we've really kind of heard a lot that can help. And then I would say for me, in terms of speaking life, I'm going to continue doing. I'm starting to work with a company that's helped me book a couple gigs. I'm going to continue trying to get a bit more national, this year into next year, and then I want to start doing a bit more professional coaching, and really, kind of similar to what we've done, and really coach people to be better speakers. I'm realizing how passionate I am about that because I think I'm not going to be speaking to high school students for the rest of my life. Like I'm going to age out at some point. Like in 20 years, I'm not going to be the most relatable. Like
how do you do, fellow kids?
Adults up here, and so I want to get the next generation of speakers into a spot where they feel comfortable and empowered, to go, right. And so yeah, I don't know when that's going to happen. I mean, I think at the end of the day, like the next couple semesters are going to be wild, and I'm excited for it. And I have a pretty good repeat, amount of folks that keep coming to me that want to get it. I'm going to maybe do more content, those types of things. But I see that trajectory kind of continuing, especially as the name gets out there a little bit more for places outside of Wisconsin and Illinois too.
So, 10-year-old Lil Bob, 10-year-old Lil Joe, they want to enter you guys' fields. They want to enter you guys' industry. Mm-hmm. What advice do you give Little Bob? What advice do you give Little Joe?
Okay. Get ready to do it for no money for a long time. And that's honestly, I swear to God, that's the truth. I started my site. It was free to do it. You can sign up for a WordPress site, and I could do it. I mean, it was the cheap version of it, right? Like it didn't look all polished and whatever. Do it for no money for a long time. Do it while you're young. And then eventually people will see the value in that, and they will find ways, you will figure out ways to monetize that sort of thing. When I made that jump from the bank to the Shepherd Express, I don't know if I would have got that job had I not said, hey, I also do this thing, and then showed them Breaking and Entering, which is now polished and developed at that point, to the point where I was like, look, I'm writing about music. I'm writing about music that you're not covering right now. And so they saw the value in that, right? So get ready to do it, figure out how to make it happen. You have a phone, you have the internet in front of you, generally. You got AI, now it's even easier. Man. You know what I mean? Like you figure out ways to do things on a budget, do things that are and don't confine yourself to one city or one, I can't do this because I can't travel to here, I can't do whatever here. Like the biggest thing you can do is go visit somewhere else if you can. Chicago is in Milwaukee. Chicago is 90 miles away, so it's easy enough that you can go down there, see what they're doing, and then say, how do I bring some influence of that back here? I wouldn't say do the Milwaukee version of something, because I hate saying that, actually. Like, I hate when people are like, oh, we're going to make the Milwaukee Coachella. We're going to make the Milwaukee whatever. Do your own thing that has influence from that, and then bring that back here. Or bring that back to your hometown. Figure out how to do it on a budget, and then figure out how to slowly build, because that's what's gonna give you longevity.
Go.
I would say I got 3 words: is write, like WRITE, practice, and fail. So the first part, I didn't realize like when you speak, it comes from you writing it. So I'm not that great of a writer naturally. I had to learn how to write, and I had to learn how to write to inspire. So write. Like write an article, write content, write things that you care about, whatever that thing is you want to speak to, write about it a lot and do it often. Practice that in front of a brick wall. I can't tell how many times I've given my keynote in front of a wall in my house, like hundreds of times, to just understand delivery, get it down, do it. Like I've done it really quiet, like, whatever, or I've done it like full on, full throttle, just whatever I need to practice. Get your timing down, like just begin practicing a thing, write it out, practice it, and then go up and fail the heck out of it. And that's the way you're going to learn. And do it maybe in a controlled environment where you have 3 friends that come over and they check it out and kind of listen. But the only way you're going to get feedback is by putting out your message and then getting responses to it. Like that didn't work, or that worked. Like the first keynote I gave to my friends was so bad.
How did you know it was bad though?
I could tell their reaction.
Oh, okay.
People that I knew would be honest with me.
Yeah.
And it was, maybe bad's a relative term. It wasn't impactful. Right?
Yeah.
They were like, I didn't understand what you were saying here. It was so choppy. And I actually invited them all over with the specific intent to see, like, give me true, specific, and honest feedback about what you're doing. They were writing stuff down, and I took more away from those than I've ever taken away from other times. So just go up and try it. But those, if you can start dedicating yourself to those couple things, you're really going to find that your message starts tailoring itself, and then you know who you're speaking to, and you've done it before. And then it's really all about confidence. If you go up and you're confident in front of a group, what you say is going to be fine. I think if they sense that aura from you and then know where you want to talk. But those three things I wish I knew a while ago. I really started writing and practicing when I was probably 23, 24, and I wish I could have done that when I was like 17, right, and or even younger. That probably goes for a lot of different places, but I've definitely found those three things help me out a ton.
Oh, I do have one more little piece of advice.
We need all the advice, all of it.
The biggest thing that I've figured out in the last few years, honestly, is don't listen to anybody but yourself. Don't care what anybody else thinks. Like, so many people do stuff, like in my field, it's content creation, right? You're looking at 3 people that are putting out content. We got a man behind the cameras here who's also putting out content all the time. You know what I mean? Like, the biggest thing is to not listen to, you're probably all caring about what, like, the 10 people closest to you think, right? Like, Jim might put out a video online and be like, oh my God, my parents are going to see this. Or my aunt is going to see this in Illinois and she's going to be like, oh, like, what are you doing with this thing? Like, she's going to judge me on it. Like, for me, I have aunts and uncles that are on Facebook, but I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like you have to literally just put that to the side and be like, this is the thing I know I want to do. Like, for me, it's my close friends. Like, my really, really close circle of friends. Like, I've been putting out these videos lately that are like kind of behind the scenes kind of stuff. It's kind of cut together like it's a template. So it doesn't really look as like me talking to camera kind of thing. But it's like it feels a little cheesy, but I'm like, this has to tell the story of like what I'm doing. And I really want to get more of that out for myself. So like, I know that my friends are going to rib me for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, I am just willing to accept that. And I'm like, but there's some kid out there that's going to see that and be like, oh, that's what I want to do. You know what I mean? Like oh, I didn't know that he did that part of the work, to get to like standing in front of the Lollapalooza stages and Summerfest stages and all that stuff. So you have to really not care what other people think is very honestly the truth.
Man, what you just said is precisely correct. Because, so for example, my family own churches, my family is super duper Christian. So it was tough for me to even do something like this. Like, for example, I just got done interviewing, I interviewed different religions. So I interviewed a scientist, I interviewed a Muslim, I interviewed a member of the Nation of Islam, and I interviewed a pastor, my cousin, who's actually the pastor. And I was a little bit scared to even release the episodes with the other religions, because in my head, I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know how my family gone. Like, but then again, and I released it, and they all loved it, and so I think that fear, that initial fear of judgment, it's scary at first, but you do got to get rid of it, because you really don't even know how they're gonna take it. Even if they take it negatively, even if they take it and they judge it and they don't like it, who cares? It's your content. It's whatever it is. It don't got to be content.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I wanted to say. The advice that y'all gave, yes, while it can be directed to y'all fields, that can be life advice. Right. So like, and that's really the key, because I feel like once you can get down life, once you can figure out, you never gonna figure out life, but but once you can have that foundation in life, then you can start. It's easier for your career fields. It's easier. 10-year-old Jim, 10-year-old Alan, what life advice would you give your younger selves?
Man, that is tough.
There's some tough ones, huh?
Look, 10-year-old Alan was a skateboarder and was listening to, like, just discovering hip hop and listening to punk rock. So, like, 10-year-old Alan might still kind of exist. You know what I mean? To some extent.
Yes.
But maybe that would be the advice that I would give, is stay true to that thing that you do when you were a little kid that you really liked, right? Like, I grew up skateboarding. I grew up listening to great music. And now I tell people that I like a lot of really good music. I still skate. Like, I'm still kind of that person, but I figured out a way to grow that and mature that into like a full human being.
Yeah, I 100%. I mean, it's interesting. I know we did this exercise of who are you speaking to, and without a doubt, I'm still a 16-year-old. Like, and I know we talked about 10 here, but
just younger self.
But like, do you unapologetically? Like, I was so kind of nervous about, like, am I different? You know, the way that I am, and like, you know, what I'm into. Yeah, and that's good. It should be different. And so and that's actually a core of what I say to students generally, is that phrase, but to be yourself and not apologize for it. And that was significant, because I mean, like, as I'm thinking about like the message I'm trying to get across, it's trying to speak to people who were like me when they were 16 and wanted to be a better leader and were unsure of themselves and not super confident, and not trying to instill that in them, because that's what happened to me, you know, when I was in high school, and it meant so much. So I would say, you know, to just keep going. Like, don't, like, these things that you're doing that maybe you're questioning, they're all for a reason, and to continue being yourself, and which sounds, you know, a little bit cliche, but it's
the truth.
It's there, you know. And that was I had like so much fun, and I was like, is this the way I should be going? And like, hell yeah, it is. You know, keep going, and don't stop, and don't let, you know, and let's be honest, most people that you're in life at that time really are not going to be in your life for, you know, that's really what it is. These people don't matter that much in that phase of life, and you know, so keep going, and you'll really meet the people that do, and that will support you for a long time.
And what you guys just said is precisely is because when I look at our situation, Joe grew up loving film. He grew up always talking about movies and always questioning stuff. He the one who always opened my mind on everything. And now what is he? Now he in school to be a filmmaker. Now he already done directed music videos. He already made movies, short films. And it all started from that passion that he had as a kid. You was skateboarding as a kid. You as speaking as a kid. Me speaking and writing like sports as a kid. Now I'm working and so once you are you and you embrace you, authentic you know what I'm saying? Once you embrace that, now you just follow that journey. It's a guy named Joseph Campbell, and he says one of his sayings is follow your bliss. Follow your bliss. Whatever you're doing, and you feel that good feeling inside, follow that feeling.
Don't ignore it.
Don't ignore it.
It means something. It's where you're supposed to be.
That's what you're supposed to be doing. Right. So take that cue and keep going. But through all of this, because you two are very successful, you two are people who I am, who I'm like, I'm trying to be like. How do you guys define success?
Yeah, it's. You honestly, if you would have asked me this 10 years ago, I'd be like, to be really rich.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Same. I was just thinking.
And that's. I mean, that would be great, but that's not it. It's kind of what I mentioned when we first started this. Is to really feel like the thing that you're passionate about doing is what's going to help. Help the people around you, and so, like, you know, I have a big faith background, and I'm from the Catholic faith, and so I that's a huge part of my life, and so I always feel like if what I'm doing is in line with you know, where I'm supposed to be, and in congruence with, you know, with that plan, if you will, I feel good. If you can wake up like and get excited about what you're going to be doing, that's successful. And you could be paid $5 or $5 million for it.
Yeah.
If you enjoy it and are, I'm not going to say never work a day in your life, because it's work. You know, like, it's hard. Like, you're going to be working every day of your life, and you might, but make sure you enjoy it. That's what it is. You know, I don't buy that, like, you know, like, oh, I haven't worked in 47 years. You've worked. You've put in hours, but you've enjoyed the work. And if you can do that and make an impact on people and do something that you're really good at, that you enjoy, and that helps. That's successful to me, and you know, in the end of the day, usually financial success follows that.
Yeah,
I would say for the most part.
For sure. It's funny when you just asked that question right now, like the light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, it's independence for me.
Oh, wow.
Is probably success, and that's how I would judge, you know, my success for sure. Is I'm able to do the thing that I set out to do. You know, like I'm doing the thing that I said in 2014. I was like, all right, cool. Every day we're writing about something, you know, That's taken me to a bunch of different places. I've traveled a bunch. I've gotten to experience a lot of different things. I get treated pretty nicely to go to like concerts and things like that, like to be able to do what I do. So independence for sure, and being able to maintain that is a benchmark for success for me, I think, for sure. I had the last time so I was at Lollapalooza this past August. I know we talked a lot about it, but like I did have a moment where I sat there and I was like standing in this giant field full of kids and adults by the time that you get to like the headliners and stuff. And I'm watching the band play on the main stage and there's this huge crowd, Chicago skyline in the background. And I'm like, damn, all these kids paid $100-something, or their parents paid $100-something to be here for today. Or, you know, or maybe they had to travel to get here. They had to pay $1,000 to fly here and get a hotel and whatever. And I'm like, you get to just show up and you walk in. Wow. You got a wristband when you get here. You can walk backstage. Like I get to go hang out in the press like lounge. Like you get to do it the bougie way. Like I did have this like moment of looking around like, you did get yourself here. Like, you know what I mean? Like you do have to remember like, okay, you did do the work to get here. Or like Green Day just played American Family Field and I was like walked in and I had a press pass, so I was on the floor, so like the close seats, you know, able to go with my wife and go check it out. And I'm like, man, there's somebody up in the 400 level that like scraped for their last like $20 to get this ticket today, you know, like. So that's a benchmark of success for me too, but you also have to have that moment of like, okay, but like somebody else really worked hard to get here, but you did do the work and now you're here, you know? So like perspective for sure.
No, I love it. And this is just a side question on the music writing. What are you looking for when you're writing the music? So like when you're writing, covering the music, covering the concerts, like what are you specifically looking for?
Concerts are different because then I'm looking for what was the experience like? Okay. Like, because generally, dirty little secret, bands are playing the same set usually every night, every town. Chicago is the best town in the world. Milwaukee is the best town in the world. Minneapolis is the best town in the world. You know what I mean? Like they hit their marks. Like especially now with the big stadium productions and arena productions, like everything is choreographed to a T, right? So I'm looking for if anything kind of notable happened. Does it sound great? Is the crowd into it? That kind of thing for concerts. When I'm writing up reviews like of music and releases, it's honestly like what feels different, what stands out, you know, like. Is this an artist, if it's their second time out, they grew from their first album? Or is it like, if it's their first album, what are they doing to gain your attention that really actually like stands out that you're like, I haven't heard this before? So, but I mean, everything's different.
No,
but those are like the main things.
I just wanted to pick the mind because like I can't imagine. I don't know if I don't know if I could sit there and just listen to music and be able to write and decode it.
The trade-off though is whenever you hear music, and even if you're not trying to write about it, you're still decoding it.
That's very true.
So like my wife will put on something in the car, and I'll be like, I can't tell her I don't like the song. Like we have the same music taste, so we like a lot of the same stuff. But like if there's one particular artist or whatever that she's like, what do you think? Maybe sometimes I don't like it, and I can't say exactly why. Or vice versa, I'm like, I love this because XYZ, and I can't stop thinking about, I like this one little drum part here, or this one little guitar part here, and she might just be listening to like the whole of the song, you know? So like you don't get to not decode it. So you're always kind of working on it.
So I gift and a curse. With pro speaking, what are you looking for? When you sit there and you inspiring, what are you looking for?
Yeah, the energy of the crowd is a big one. I can tell really, really quick if they're going to pick up what I'm putting down, or if I have to try harder, or if I just do something different and pivot. You know, when I start the first 5 minutes are me doing like a chant and a wave and really getting them going. And I know pretty quickly if they're going to feel that. And it's okay if they don't, by the way. Then it's funny and awkward, and I'm like, well, that went well. That kind of thing. So that's a way to get nervous energy out of the vibe is when you start with that way. But very quickly, I would say like immediately when I start speaking, I'm zoning in on the people who I can tell are paying attention, and that's my folks. So think whereas people probably assume that if you're talking to a crowd of 1,000, you're kind of just like looking all over the place, and that gets to be less and less relatable when you're zoned in on the person that I start seeing myself in some people. So like one time there was like a teacher who was smiling the whole time. I'm like, well, that's the one I'm looking at. Here you go. And then when you see them react, it gets me pumped up. Even if the person next to them is like on their phone, going like this, it is what it is. It's always going to happen. But I am getting an energy level vibe. I'm getting I start thinking about later on in the talk what to really focus on. And this is all, it's like it's a lively hour in my head. I'm up, I'm thinking about the next line, thinking about when to pause later. I kind of have like a vibe of okay, maybe I'll step over here. And I'm very spontaneous. So if I'm like, let's just go try that and see what happens. Now that I know, years ago I wouldn't have been like that, but now that I know what I'm going to say, I'll just get in the audience and do this instead or something like that, or call someone out as a joke, that type of thing. So it's kind of it's almost like a live show, I would say, and you're just reacting as the audience goes. I know what I want to get across and the message I have, and then when I do little breaks, make people shake. I'll check time. I'm like, okay, I got 15 minutes left, and I have 20 minutes of content. Here's where I'll focus. One time I got a 10-minute warning, and I had a half hour left.
So what happened?
You just got to pick something. You pick two things and you roll, and I can now do that a lot more easily. So I know. I know that if I get I always ask teachers or whatever to give me a 10-minute warning, because I know that I can do 10 minutes and end it really quickly. Because there's been times where I start late, whatever it might be, and I just get carried away with something. So I'm usually within that 10-minute mark. I have 3 things I can end on, and I'm good to go. That will do it. But sometimes you just skip a few things, and you just kind of deal with it. I don't love when that happens, but it is what it is, and it just depends on the crowd. And one time, they got me started. I was slotted to speak at something from 7 to 8. And I got on stage at 7:50, and they were like, "Go till 8:15." And here's my 15-minute talk, and you just deal with it, and it is what it is. But that's something you just gotta roll with, and you get more and more comfortable with it, I think, and you kind of just can tell what's going to be the most important part. I know usually what I want to stick with and end with, but when I'm starting, it's really that energy level, and then the people that I'm kind of right away zoning in on that are going to be into what I'm saying. And honestly, sometimes you start something and you're like, this can be a tough crowd, and then you still got to do it, and then you really overcompensate, and I'm like, here we are. And then sometimes I'm just like, just go for it. One time I will say, this is probably about 6 months ago, I was at a retreat in Chicago, and one student just had his hand up like this. And I'm not a Q&A guy, but I'm like, all right, man, what's up? And he asked me a question that was profound. And I was like, wow. And I answered it, and then they started cheering.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, okay, one kid. And I'm like, yeah. And they kept going. It became a 40-minute Q&A, and the students loved it. And I never, the teachers weren't in the room, so whatever. But that's what they needed at that time. So I'm like, okay, that's what we're going to do. And I remember leaving, and I'm like, I got through 15 minutes of content, and that lasted for an hour. And with more answers I gave, they went crazier. So I'm like, sure, we'll just answer questions.
It's like a dream
was
scenario.
What's your favorite color? And that one, I was like, green. Okay. And they did it, but they really wanted to know. They really, and I so appreciated that. I'm like, if a kid asks a question, he's like, what, do you have a girlfriend? Random stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's enough. We'll talk later. But it was unique. So, you can kind of, you can pivot quickly as needed.
That's what I was thinking. That. Pivot.
It's a challenge, but I love that uncertainty. It's so much fun to me, and because then it's on you. It's on how much you prep for it, how much you know, and then it's how much you have practiced doing this type of thing. And to be a professional is to do that. Is to be in a moment where you're uncomfortable and be like, what do I do? Because talking to 1,000 people and what you planned didn't work, you got to think of something else. On the spot.
You got to be comfortable. You got to get LeBron James, my favorite basketball player, the greatest basketball player of all time. LeBron James said, what are we about to say? I know we're not about to.
Let's see. There's 6 championships.
Oh, my goodness. Here we go.
There are how many losses?
Here we go.
We're talking about a 90s Chicago kid.
I'm already knowing. I know what to expect.
I choked on the sweet air of LeBron here.
I know what to expect. If I'm not talking to somebody who's a Gen Z, I know what to expect. I already know. But I was the greatest basketball player of all time.
Yeah, he seems like a good time.
Something that he always say, and when I was a kid, it stuck with me. He was like, you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And once you get comfortable with being uncomfortable, man, now I just want to be uncomfortable now because growth happens through uncomfortability. Yeah, exactly. You're not going to grow being comfortable. You're just going to stay complacent. You go, hey, I'm cool. But if you keep getting uncomfortable, now you're learning and you're growing.
I think Jordan also said.
Yeah, Jordan had some points too.
Shout out Michael Jordan.
The GOAT.
Number 2. All right, but I'd like to move to a segment. I like to call it This or That. So I'm just going to ask y'all 2 different this or that. And y'all have to tell me y'all answer.
Yes.
And y'all got to break down a little bit of why y'all chose that answer. So the first this or that. Lasting impact. Now, this is a tough one. This is a tougher one. Because this is more than 2 words. This is more than just a word and word. But I wanted to get y'all opinion. Having a lasting impact on a small audience or having influence over a large audience. So this is a tough one. Having a lasting impact over a small audience or influencing a large audience.
I have mine. Lasting
Go.
impact.
Yeah.
And
Same.
It's quality over quantity to me, always. If I can hit one student and change the way they think, and there's 95 people in that room, that's a success to me.
And that's influence too. You know what I mean? Like if you can connect to that one person,
Yep.
like for me with what I do, I guess the closest to that is like, you know, putting on shows and being able to be like, okay, did we have a good crowd?
Yeah.
Or did we have like a big crowd that didn't do anything and they talked while they were at the bar the whole time? Like,
Yeah.
or did I have a crowd that was up and they were moving and they were having fun? Like, you know, and they are 2 different things. A lot of people want a big crowd, but if you can have a good crowd, it is much better.
And I would say I didn't get into this to have an influence. I got into it to have a lasting impact. That's the best way to describe it.
And what you just said, at Will's, like I experienced it firsthand. Like obviously all those students, but it's the students who came up to me who told me like, "Thank you."
It's awesome.
When I tell you I got in that car and I started crying, I called Joe. I started crying. I'm like,
When you connect on a bigger level, it's emotional.
that's what matters.
Yeah.
It's the lasting impact.
That's lasting impact.
Exactly. Okay, love it. Next one. Inspiration or information?
I think we might be different on this one. What do you
bet
think?
we are.
Go with it. What do you got?
I'm an inspiration guy.
Cool. I'm information. I am.
Inspiration is what keeps me going, and the people that have really set my path have been inspiring, perhaps with information. But I'm a softie. You know, I love being inspired. I love those like inspirational leadership and I try to inspire. So that's that word rings more true to me.
Yeah, for sure. For me, like it's nice if I inspire people. It's great. But I am a very like it's a bad trait to have, but I'm kind of I act like a know-it-all. I know it, and I can't shake that sort of thing. But where it helps is when I'm working with, you know, if I get a chance to talk to like a younger artist or some of my friends that work in studios and stuff like that, and they're just trying to make their thing happen too. Like, as far as I hate to say it, but I've been around the block a little bit. Like, you know, I've seen every angle of like from producing to like seeing people perform on stage. And I've been to a lot of stuff like, you know, I can take that. And now I'm kind of already starting to be at that old man point of being like, let me tell you why this works, why this doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like trying to connect to people like, I hope that inspires them and influences them a little bit, but like definitely more fact-based of being like, okay, this is why, you know, this is why your favorite artist plays the Super Bowl for free. Because blah, blah, blah. You know, this is why they decided to go with this for their album instead of this for their album. Or this, you know what I mean? Like the back end stuff of the music industry that maybe people don't, I guess, think about as much. Or it's just me being a know-it-all. I don't know.
Nah, I'm definitely leaning on Jim's side with this. Because I'm inspiration. I like the inspire, and I think that's. I mean, I gained it. A part of it, I gained it from you. Like, I'm obviously watching you, seeing you, even just seeing how you were interacting with the students. It was just like, man, okay, like I want to do that. Like that's so. And I gotta say though, I'm a big information guy. Like I'm one of those guys. Me and Joe, we debate all the time over all types of stuff, and that's basically just us sharing information with each other. Like I tell him, we need the debate. I need him because I mean we don't agree on anything, but yet we're the same. So, but I need that other perspective because now after every conversation, now I've learned. I have new information that I can use to hopefully inspire. Try to put that all together. You know, gotta put it together. Last, this or that. Provoking thought It's crazy because I got I dang near have the answer to this and that already. But provoking thought or providing answers?
I'm providing answers.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Bad trait to have, but I have it. Whatever.
I want to always want to teach students and people the importance of critical thought and like thinking about themselves in a different way or their leadership style in a different way, whatever it might be. And I like to just begin that conversation. And so, yeah, I think like I try and hit a mindset. Like that mindset is what I really focus on. So that's what I'll take.
Yeah, for me, providing answers, because I think that like there is so much misinformation out there just in the world. Like nothing has ever felt cloudier than going on the internet lately, or I did my research, or maybe I didn't do my research and I'm just gonna say whatever, so whenever I can provide some information, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I picked that up from the last issue. So the very last segment that I love to call the deep dive, I like to, listen, I'm a thinker. Mm-hmm. I love to think. Even if I don't have the answer, I like to ponder and just think about it. Is there an objective meaning to life? These are tough ones. These are philosophical.
I don't know if there's like a one universal end goal for anything for everybody. Man, you really do think about this, huh?
I think.
I don't know if there's like a universal goal for everything, right? Everybody's going to want something different out of their life. For me, I want to have the best experience that I can, do as much as I can, hopefully influence and provide some information for some people along the way, and show my little corner of the world to the rest of the world. That's probably, I guess, but like goal-wise, I'm sure Jim is on the complete opposite end of that,
No, I don't think they're like, people have so many things that they're influenced by and empowered by and that they follow, and whether it be cultural differences or religious, all these different things. So like to have an objective meaning is difficult because what's true for one, it doesn't feel like it's the same way for the other. I do think there are objective things though, like people, to live a life of like loyalty, of kindness, of human respect. I mean, there's some things that should just be a thing, and that's maybe a part of the way that you live. But man, my meaning to life is probably a lot different than my coworkers' meaning to life. Like a guy that works in IT with me, who's a speaker. Like we probably don't have the same type of thing we want, but maybe he does want to influence and inspire other people in IT. Like you never know, like the way that they want to go about it. But it's tough to make it really concrete because. That's a hard question. But it's good. I think we should always be thinking about what you're bringing and how that will influence and inspire other people. But man, it does feel subjective because it's hard to get down to it just based on where people are coming from. Just wavelengths are a lot different.
I definitely think it's all subjective, and I think that I would like to encourage people to ponder that, especially people, because like y'all two have figured out that already. But people who haven't figured it out, I want them to just think about it, because once you can figure out a reason, like, okay, what is a reason you're here? Like, and then you can tap into that. So like if I'm saying, like, when I discovered, oh man, I think my meaning in life is to inspire. Okay, now what can I do to inspire? Now I can just start thinking of ways and actions.
It's like find your why.
Find your why.
From there, that will take over everything that you want to do. If you know why you're doing it, that's the foundation. And you spread it, but it always comes back to that.
This is why you're the professional speaker. You just took what I said and just put it so eloquently. Right. But this is why you do what you do. So I love it. Man, Jim, Allen, I want to thank you guys so much.
Of course.
This was absolutely amazing. I learned so much. I've been inspired. And I cannot wait for this episode to drop. So then when I point to you guys, I need you guys to say, we catch him. Okay? Mm-hmm. We catch him. Football. We catch him. You just got done watching another episode of Dreamcatchers Presents the Jason Smith Show, where we don't chase dreams,
we catch him.
Let's go!
Yeah.
At the same time, too.